In order to try to get attention, Inácio is doing absolutely everything, but nothing is working. Geraldo Alckmin is completely embarrassed by everything that's been reported, and Lula is basically humiliating him in front of everyone. He already knows that he's been sidelined, and Inácio doesn't need Geraldo Alckmin as his vice anymore, especially because those people who supported Lula when Alckmin was his vice don't support him anymore. Only Choo-Choo is left, and Choo-Choo is disposable. Journalists tried, but in one word, Veja magazine humiliated Geraldo Alckmin. They're really softening him up, and now he exploded. Fana, I'll show several facts here. Things are so desperate for Lula that not even Oust managed to help him. This time, come on, don't hold back, hit the like button. Come be part of our family, leave your comments. There's still a lot of news and information, my friends. Before we start, I want you to take a look at this image. Here, you can see me in Adriles. Look at how big my face was, just look at the size. This other video here that I made for TikTok, I made it about 5 or 6 months ago. Look at my double chin. Look at how big my face was. Look at how swollen I was. 20 kilos heavier. 20 kilos heavier. Now, I want you to take a look at this other image here. You see it, guys. Slim Fever, this product here that I advertise on the channel, here on our channel, it's official, okay? It's official with more discount. Because I have a partnership directly with the owner of Slim Fever. Because it was through this little product here that I managed to lose 20 kilos, 20 kilos. I used to weigh 105 kilos. Today I'm at 85 thanks to Slim Fever. So if you're thinking about going on a diet, we know that at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year and all, you want to stay in shape. I use Slim Fever. It's a little powder, you put it in water, stir it, and it gives you that feeling of fullness, you know? And you'll be able to lose inches. If I could do it, why can't you do it too, right? It's a great product to fight obesity, for us to lose weight and look good. It's an excellent opportunity. All the results are here, all the results right here. A few months ago, 20 kilos. I'm living proof that I managed to lose weight. I dealt directly with the Slim Fever supplier. You won't be able to buy it at this price anywhere else. Ours is the best deal on the entire internet. So, the link is right here, just below. Don't miss this opportunity. Let's lose weight, get slim, look good. I'm sure, look, your quality of life will change. The link is right here, just below. Alckmin talks about working with Lula. Guys, if Alckmin were Lula's vice president, there wouldn't be any problem with what he's saying. No, I'm going to be the vice, I'm going to be the vice, and all that. He already saw that things got bad for him. A Paraná poll today showed that the poor guy loses in the first round to Tarcísio. Obviously then, what's left for Choo-Choo is absolutely nothing. A campaign for senator here in the state won't win it all anymore, being a state representative for God's sake. And even then, if Lula decides to appoint him, depending on what happens, as a possible government minister, because Lula is not going to win. Look at that. Geraldo Alckmin avoided commenting on whether there is already any decision about his political future. When asked, Alckmin chose not to make any decisions in advance. The vice president limited himself to saying that there are 2 types of anxious people in life: journalists and politicians. Look, he was completely embarrassed here. We want to know, Mr. President.
Will you and President Lula have tea again? You even wore red socks to come here.
If you're not vice president and Mr. Rojita runs for São Paulo governor, it'll be here.
There are 2 anxious people.
The guy is completely trying to show, to appear calm and all, but we know how it works. That green magazine pointed out Lula's lack of consideration for Alckmin, the replaceable one, the Choo-Choo, being humiliated again. In July 2022, Lula announced his partnership with Alckmin in the fight to defeat Bolsonaro as something historic in Brazilian politics. Now, this year, he knows Alckmin won't solve absolutely anything. Alckmin has already given him what he wanted. But there's a detail. Zando is closer to Alckmin than to Lula. Although, in this situation, one is trying to save his own skin. And for Lula, there's nothing better than handing him the microphone. Guys, look at what he said here, that a father, when his son turns 15, 14 years old, takes him to brothels and such. Look at this guy. He's out of his mind. There's no way something like this is possible.
I'm the father of 5 kids. I'm speaking from experience, both as a father and because I have a short son. My son is really short.
I'm speaking from experience. In other words, he did this in his own family.
My son is really short. When he turns 14, I'm going to take him to have his first sexual experience. Now, my daughter has to get married a virgin even if she's 50 years old. Is that it?
Is it possible for a president of the republic to suggest that a father should take his 14-year-old son to have sex? Where have we ended up, huh? Where we saw the Latam pilot arrested for exploiting minors. A case that adds to the Epstein case, which everyone already knows. They're following it closely. And while we try to protect our young people, our children, our grandchildren from increasingly aggressive sexual exposure, we heard from those who said you should set an example.
Since you never had a role model, right, Julian? That becomes more evident every day. Now, have you ever thought about what it would be like if Bolsonaro said something that stupid? A kid under 14 whose father is going to take him to have his first woman? He must be drunk. Giving that kind of speech, it must be because he's drunk. He can say whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants. There's no other logical explanation. Stupidity, look, it takes over all the books. Can you imagine? I was born at the very end of the 70s, the very beginning of the 80s. No one in my family has ever had a story like this. Because, you know, family, right? We had real parents, real grandparents. That happened many, many, many years ago in some regions. Now, this guy has nothing to say. He gets completely desperate. And look, I'm going to tell you all, okay? Petistas, voters of that nefarious guy, are desperate. They're saying they're going to report, that they're going to take down the internet, take down people. Here, these guys are in complete despair. And it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Look at this poll. You guys saw how things are going. February 2022, the same poll from that guy, Felipe Nunes, who is as pro-Lula as it gets. The guy ran several campaigns for the Workers' Party, but back in February 2022, a lot of people wanted to know. I was showing Lula here. The poll showed that Lula had 54%. President Bolsonaro had 30%. Remember that? Bolsonaro had 30%. Lula had 54%. Lula would win in the first round. The poll kept lying throughout the entire 2022 campaign. They didn't get a single result right. So they went there and said that Lula would win the first round by 54-30, right? Back in 2022. This year, just so you have an idea, things are completely different. Cuesta released the poll today. Lula dropped 5 points from February to last month. From January until now, it's been 5 points, and if you add from December to February, he dropped 10 points. Look, Cuesta shows Lula's lead over Flavio Bolsonaro dropping. In 2 months, the difference in the second round fell from 10 to 5 points. Faria Lima preferred to hire consultants. They said Flavio had no chance. Instead of listening to several other specialists, here is the overview. Lula had 48% of the vote intention in the second round. Then it went to 46-45, and now it's 43. Now Flavio just keeps going up. And I'm talking about Cuesta's poll in the Northeast. Look here. Lula sees his approval drop by 6 points. In the party's main electoral stronghold in the country, the new round of the Cuesta poll brings worrying data for Lula. Widely rejected in the South, Southeast, Central West, and North regions, the government is starting to see its popularity plummet. Even in the Northeast, the only electoral stronghold that still evaluates the administration positively, the Northeast has already dropped 6 points. And it's not me saying this, it's Oust. Draw your own conclusions about what will happen in the coming months. Flavio has practically not even started his campaign yet. Lula is at every event blatantly campaigning. Blatantly, which is obvious. You look at several sectors that should be fighting what's happening. Most of them were all appointed by him. You see, for example, this case that ended up at the Superior Electoral Court. Andre Mendonça was the rapporteur there. Then he passed it on to the Superior Electoral Court minister, who was appointed by Lula and who used to be Flavio Dino's secretary when he was Minister of Justice. Let me tell you, Andre also has the opportunity. The case about the carnival, about Lula, lands in his hands. He goes there and distributes it to the Superior Electoral Court minister, who was appointed by Lula and who worked in Flavio Dino's office. Flavio Dino, the one who hid tapes, didn't hand them over, said the footage was deleted. Today you can see it there. In the Varkar case, the federal police can retrieve files from a phone, like the iPhone 17, which has all possible technology. Do you think the federal police wouldn't be able to extract deleted data from a hard drive? Even an elementary school kid can do that. The federal police could very well have recovered all the images that were deleted from the hard drive that was recording there at the Praça dos Três Poderes. But why didn't they do that? Wouldn't it match the narrative they wanted to push about a coup? Wouldn't they see several other situations, maybe even other images, after everything that Cable News Network itself managed to leak? Remember Sergeant Pincel, that G. Diaz guy, opening the door for people to let the vandals in? There was the photographer, all set up, from the agency, taking a picture of the guy kicking the glass door. Everything very well coordinated. But things aren't working out. Not at all. Nothing is going right. There's something we're noticing, there's another moment, and Lula is not doing well at all. He's flopping. In the Northeast, he's already dropped 6 points, and in the Midwest, in other polls, Flavio is already ahead both in the first and second rounds. Of course, the Midwest will always be the Midwest. He's already dropped 10 points since December. What else needs to happen? Let him talk as much as he wants, let him speak freely, but every time he talks, Brazil really knows who this guy is. Share this video on WhatsApp, Telegram, and Facebook. Smash that like button. Come join our family and subscribe to the channel, leave your opinion here. I'll return to the Pisa Filhos, Fabiano Guiguet channel with more updates.